Welcome back.
Nick and Lex here.
Hey everyone.
How's it going, guys? So today we're going to talk about our experience at Kansas.
Yes.
I mean, what can we say? It's just, I guess the band really met all of our expectations.
Yes. In my case and Lee's case, who was also with us, exceeded expectations.
Oh yeah, totally.
And my dad ended up coming with us as a little extra surprise. So Mike couldn't make it, sad, but it was a wonderful show. I think you said when we left that it was one of the best, most recent shows that we've seen.
Yeah, what I loved about them was that they played they played literally like the records, like the CD or whatever, the I mean, it sounded so good and their sound was amazing. Everybody was just like at their A game, and I mean, these guys are in their 70s, so it's well, we're gonna talk about that real quick. So they played 20 songs,
20, including the encore.
Yeah. So we're just gonna talk about that real quick. So they started with is that called Belixes or Belexes?
I have no idea.
Well, you guys let us know. Then Point of No Return, Play the Game Tonight, Fight Fire with Fire. So they opened with like bangers, like we were just like,
yes,
singing along.
I didn't know the first one, but I did know Point of No Return. Play the Game Tonight, I think I knew, but I'm not too sure. Fight Fire with Fire, I did.
And I was super excited when they played those. Well, the first one I didn't know, but I think it was just like an instrumental, like an opener.
Yeah.
Or from the new album. But Point of No Return, Play the Game Tonight, and Fight Fire with Fire are of course on the best of, so I knew them. And then Icarus, Born on the Wings of Steel, and then Icarus 2.
That
Epic.
one was awesome.
Yes, that was just like wow.
Yeah, I didn't know it, but I remember that I loved it because when it was over, Billy said, "Oh, by the way, that was Icarus too." So I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna remember that."
Yeah. So after that, A Glimpse of Home, The Pinnacle, Throwing Mountains. I think Throwing Mountains was the only one from the new album that was composed by Tom Brislin, who's now the keyboard player. We're gonna talk about him in a second. Then People of the South Wind. I think that was also new.
No, that was not new. No.
Oh, they did like an acoustic set. That started the acoustic set. People of the South Wind, Dust in the Wind, Reason to Be, and then Lonely Wind. And then they did amazing The Song of America, Can I Tell You, Hold On. And people just lost it in Hold On. People were like singing along like
there
that.
were these two awesome ladies standing up kind of at the edge by the aisle, and they're like, "Hold on, baby, hold on."
So I guess they saw the music video when it came out. Then Down the Road, The Wall, and when they played The Wall, because that's also on the best of, and Miracles Out of Nowhere, we just reacted to it.
I was so happy with Miracles.
I lost it, and then they left, and then we of course
cheered them back,
and the applause was so intense. Everybody was so happy with it. They came out and played, of course, Carry On. So it was an amazing set list. Everything was played. It was sometimes a little bit too loud, I guess, even for us, which was crazy. Mario was the only smart one who was wearing earplugs.
Yeah, my dad.
It's like self-made, like with, I guess. What was it?
I don't know. I think he did have earplugs with him.
I think it was just like paper.
Oh, was it? Okay. Yeah, but it was good. I felt the venue was great. It was at the Paramount Theater in downtown Denver. We saw Alan Parsons' project, or Alan Parsons, I should say, there. And great venue, wonderful, atmosphere and everything. Our seats were kind of at the balcony.
We were up in the balcony. When we went to see Alan Parsons, we were down.
Yes.
But this time we were up, which was very nice, and there were no people in front of us, so we had a great view. It sounded just amazing. So let's talk about the players. I mean, we have two originals, which is Richard Williams on guitar, the one with the eye patch. I just looked it up. He lost his eye due to an accident with fireworks as a kid. And then we have Phil Ehart on drums and percussion. But there was another drummer that that played the first set, and then he came out to play Song of America around. So the first 13 songs were played by this younger guy. I don't know his name, and he's not on the on here on the website. But they said
that Phil had some sort of accident.
Yes.
And so he wasn't going to be able to play. And then when Song for America came out, he was like, Phil on the drums.
Yeah, and you could really
losing it.
I can't say you can hear that. You could. I mean, you could just hear that he knows those songs by heart.
Yeah.
So we had on the vocals, very surprising, Ronnie Platt. He sounded very much like Steve Walsh in some tunes, and then sometimes he sounded like the other vocalist, that guy from Power.
Yeah.
But also on the violin, Joe Dennison. Very cool. He played the electric guitar, the violin.
He was great.
He was just amazing.
He had great energy and just
a very cool presentation. Then on the keyboards we had of Yes fame, and let's see, we have him here.
Yeah, Tom Brislin.
So he has played solo, then with You Were Spiraling, Meatloaf, Yes, and other artists. So that guy was on fire.
Yeah,
he was like, he sounded like Jordan Rudess sometimes.
Was amazing.
Very good.
I was always just like thrown away, and then blown away, and sometimes I would look over and he'd just be like chopping stuff or like just kind of like hitting it, but other times he'd literally be chopping it or like
I think he had some kind of effect that was like great. A percussion, but he was playing it like a percussionist.
It was amazing.
But,
he was a lot of fun.
Now the guy that I loved was Billy Greer. He is the bass and vocals. He was singing all the parts that the guy that just passed away,
the violinist
Robbie. He was doing his harmonies, and he was also like the MC. So every other song he would stop and just talk. And he's an original member as well, right? He started in 1984 with Power.
Okay.
So he's been there for like a lot. He's like not original, but you could say he's been there since the 80s, 84, because they did start in the 70s. So, but so of course, we didn't. So there's only two really like original members. Of course, we didn't get to see like Kerry Livgren and Steve Walsh, of course not. Robbie Steinhardt, of course, he passed away. And then Steve Morris was in the band too. But you can't have everything. But I think this was amazing.
It was a great lineup.
These guys are just on fire, and they are playing this music exactly the way it should be played.
And with a lot of passion, a lot of love, a lot of respect.
Yes.
The whole night just felt wonderful when they introduced themselves. I mean, they came out playing, and then Billy did the introduction, and he said, "We've got a great show for you tonight. We're gonna do a long show." So it kind of like really pumped you up, and there was no opening band, no opening act.
I love that.
So it was just pure Kansas the whole night. It was also nice, like Nick said, that we didn't have anyone in front of us, and it's a seated venue, which is always good for me as well. There are some venues here that we've gone to that I'm just like dying by the end. So this was wonderful.
Very
and
important.
I also loved their backdrop was kind of like glow in the dark at times. So after each song, it would turn off. Like all the lights would turn off, and you would just see the Kansas logo, so and cool, 50, outlined and glow in the dark with 50th.
And also, Alexia was very surprised because they had like this thing where the guitars, I think you add it to your guitar. It's like a thing. I don't know. It's like some kind of add-on, but it's not the guitar itself. But the guitars would glow the frets. You could see the frets in the dark. And
I feel like Billy's was just the frets were glow in the dark, and then Richard,
his whole guitar, his whole neck, right?
Yeah, his wasn't only on the frets, but I feel like Billy's, it was just the frets, and then Richard kind of added some stickers or something.
Yeah,
to be cool
I don't know
too,
what it. I think it
is.
I think you're right. Maybe it is stickers.
Yeah, I think
that
it
makes
could
a
be
lot
some
of
stickers.
sense.
Yeah,
because.
But it was great. Great show.
Yeah, it was
wonderful
just amazing.
energy, great set list. As you can see, I mean, you guys were so excited. Some of you reached out to us, so thank you for that. But we bought these tickets long ago, and then the show just kind of like jumped up on us. We totally forgot that it was here, and we're so happy that we could make it. And
we wanted to give a shout out to I don't remember somebody that came up, him and his wife.
Glenn
and his wife.
Glenn and Vicky.
Oh, you have such a good memory. Oh my god. So,
we saw them at the show.
At the door when the concert was over, they're like, Nick and Lex.
Yeah.
And we're like, oh, and it's always so nice because it's always unexpected.
But it was the sweetest.
And your dad is always never there when that happens, because it happened to us in Munich. I guess we told you guys. Oh, we haven't even talked about the whole Munich thing. We have been so busy, you know. We want to talk about the whole Munich trip, but it happened to us in Munich at the airport. Some guy, a Steely Dan fan, came up and he's like, "Hey, Nick and Lex, I like your show," and that's it. So
crazy.
So and that happened all the way in Munich was insane.
Yeah.
But yeah, it has happened like 4 or 5 times, right? That they just come up to us and like.
But I want to say about Glenn and Vicky who were there, it was the cutest because they said their very first date was at a Kansas show and they're celebrating their 40th anniversary this year. Yeah. So imagine Kansas has been together 50 years. So Glenn and Vicky have been together like most of the time that Kansas has. And that was just wonderful.
Yeah, that was super sweet. And they looked adorable and very cute. And shout out to you guys if you're watching this. But yeah, it was just amazing. I've always wanted to see Kansas since I discovered them. Like, I think in 2003 or something. That was that CD that my dad had, and I kind of like stole it, you know, not steal it, but I just grabbed it and he didn't really notice. And it was called The Best of Kansas. And it's so funny the way I looked at it at the back and I saw Carry On Wayward Son. I was like, that's the song that Yngwie Malmsteen plays on his Inspiration CD. And I was like, that's the band. And then I popped it in and I was just mesmerized by how good these guys were. I even love this, obviously their version much more. Yes. And I think when I fell in love with Kansas was because of Song for America. That song is so good. I was so happy that they played it and we knew every beat. My dad did too. And it was very awesome because my dad said he's been wanting to see Kansas live since he was in high school. So it all just worked out wonderfully. It was a great time. I loved that they closed with Carry On. I mean, you called it. You were like, they're gonna come back with Carry On. Yeah, because I was like, they haven't played Carry On Wayward Son, and that's literally I think the most successful. I mean, Dust in the Wind and that. But I was like, they're gonna come back and like rock our socks. And the solos, you know, were so good. I mean, like Richard played his ass off. You know? He's so good, and he was very calm. He was sitting. I mean, these guys are, you know, they're in their mid-70s, some of them. Billy here, I just looked him up, he's 71. Wow. So I mean, you know, respect. It's not, even I can't stand through a whole show. I was looking at Billy and he was standing throughout the whole thing and I was like, wow. He was standing. So you know, you gotta give it to them, you know. I mean, in your 50s, in the 60s, okay, but in the 70s, that's a whole different animal. It is. I mean, and then Ronnie, the vocalist, he was still running around up and down the stage. I mean, he's little bit younger, but he did a great job. You know, these vocals are not easy and they're very high, and he did amazing. Like, it was just everyone was top, like you said. They were all very tight together. It was all a positive environment, you know. And everyone was just thrilled to be there. You could tell, you know. And he did also say, not to down
any other city, but he was like, oh, you know, you guys are such a great crowd, but now you're becoming like the highlight of the tour. So thank you so much. And that just feels awesome, because I don't know if they say that everywhere they go.
I was going to say that maybe, but it doesn't matter. Even if they say it in every single town, that's sweet. I think it's a nice touch, you know, and he talked about, oh, we've been to Red Rocks, so he did a little bit of research. I think he does that for each town, just to call out the venues, and I think it's very respectful. It's a nice touch.
I agree.
And
but all around, it was a great show. We're very happy that we could make it. If you're still in one of the cities, to come check out the show. It's wonderful. Another Fork in the Road 50th anniversary tour.
I just had them pulled up. Like, if you guys you want to know.
Oh yeah.
So the upcoming ones
there's a lot.
Oh, the Vancouver, Seattle, Portland, Boise. Oh God.
I know. I was thinking about that.
San Francisco, Los Angeles, San Diego, Tucson, Albuquerque, El Paso, and so on. You can.
There's a lot of cities left, guys. So you're in. You're in luck, because and I think there's one Canadian city there too. So check them out. If you went to the show, let us know your thoughts. What did you think? Were you satisfied with the playlist? Thank you all so much for all of your support, and we love that now we're discovering all this music and going to all of these shows.
We're gonna try and make more videos after each show, just to let you guys know what we think. And especially like with bands like these, you know, because we've seen some other bands, but maybe they're too small. But we're gonna try and keep you guys updated when we go to a concert.
Thank you all so much, and we hope to see you all in the next one.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.